I want to thank all of you for your efforts that you make across this state. Your reflection of who we really are from the standpoint of the engine that drives this economy, and we are the envy of the rest of the nation. From time to time, there are other governors that wouldn't admit they want to be Texans, but they would dearly love to have the economic success that you all have helped create in this state. As a matter of fact, Chief Executive Officer magazine has named Texas the best state in the nation to do business for 8 years in a row. Last year, CNBC named us the top state for business for the third year, or I should say the third time in the last few years. But it's thanks to the hard work and the innovative spirit and dedication of Texas small businessmen and women that our bank balance is healthy, our economy is growing, our future is limitless. The foundation that companies are building in our job-friendly climate consistently draws the attention of top decision makers across the business world. And it's a climate where employers have the opportunity to thrive. Competition's on a global scale. It's not just cross-town competition anymore. It's not just cross-state. It is truly global. And it didn't happen by chance. More than a decade ago, we set out to create WillU, and NFIB was right there as we were making the decisions about tax policy, regulatory policy, about the legal system in the state. We set out to create a Texas where investors could confidently invest their capital and expect to see a solid return on their investment. And we held to that commitment of low taxes, of reasonable and stable regulations, a legal system that didn't allow for oversuing. And we were successful with that. We dedicated ourselves to cultivating a workforce that stands ready to fill those needs an employer is going to require, whether it's on an assembly line or whether it's in a sales office or whether it's in a laboratory. That combination is attracting employers from all across the country and around the world. You all might have heard about a little trip I took within the last 10 days to California to get that message out loud and clear. You know, before I made that trip, we released a 1-minute radio ad into just a handful of California markets, emphasizing the climate that we've created here. As a matter of fact, if you have not heard it yet, y'all stop by and go to TexasWideOpenForBusiness.com and give it a listen. It's still up. But I spent several days out there reinforcing that message face-to-face with business leaders throughout California. And, you know, thanks to some publicity I really didn't expect to get from Governor Brown, we got about $4 million worth of publicity from a $24,000 radio ad buy. So it was awesome. That's what you call return on investment. But the results have been significant, though. You know, traffic to our EcoDevo website is up substantially. Several California CEOs immediately contacted the Austin Chamber of Commerce. As a matter of fact, there was one CEO who walked in off the street at the Austin Chamber and he declared he was tired of California and wanted to kind of see what they had to offer. And so he spent his day touring the city. And none of this is about bashing California. That is a beautiful state. As a matter of fact, I think there were like 20-something businesses represented from California, 10 or 12 businesses of Texas business who had come to kind of support the message. And we were standing in just a beautiful room with Laguna Beach behind us. And I said, that is Exhibit A on how a government could foul it up so bad that you would leave that. And there was a nervous laughter, but they understood both the seriousness of that, this is a beautiful state. It's got so much to offer, yet they have made it so onerous in that beautiful part of the world that people are picking up and relocating, or they are expanding their business, but they're not expanding in California. You know, it's part of the reason that I talked about that we can't rest on our laurels. I can assure you there are other governors in other states that are making their states more competitive tax-wise, regulatory-wise, legal-wise, and that's good. That's really what this discussion was about. Partly at its core was a conversation. You know, some people want to call it red state, blue state. I just talk about this is the Texas way of doing business. If you got a better one, let's see it. We'll compete. It's about competition. And those of you who realize that we can't just prop our feet up on our desk and whistle, thank God we're country boys, and not know that there's going to be somebody, Mary Fallon in Oklahoma or Bobby Jindal over in Louisiana, that's going to put policies and tax regulatory environment together that appeals to businessmen and women in this state, and that's good. So it's why, Will, when we came back in this session, we talked about that you know, we needed to take a look at our tax and our regulatory policy. This is a challenging legislative session, and hold fast to those basic conservative principles that we know work, but make some tough decisions to keep our economy on that upward trajectory that it's on. Our revenue estimate that we received was exceptionally strong. Our rainy day fund is projected to soon hold nearly $12 billion. And the kind of numbers that we're seeing this session have received the attention of just about every special interest group in the state. They got a great idea, or great ideas, about how to spend all that extra money. In Texas, we know there is no such thing as extra taxpayer money, that we never have to spend every penny of it. We've been presented with an opportunity to put our fiscal house in order, prepare ourselves to remain competitive for years to come. And we're talking about steering away from budgetary tricks that we've used in the past, Will, and we need to pay what is due now. We're talking about a stronger constitutional limit on spending growth, ensuring that it never grows more than population and inflation. We're talking about making that small business tax permanent. Talking about streamlining government, doing away with the practice of using dedicated funds for any other purpose than what they were intended. We're also talking about finding a way to give tax money back to the taxpayers when we have more than what we need. You know, what a great juxtaposition that Texas is in during a time when the tax burden on Americans is growing. Other states are scrambling to you know, grab every tax dollar they can, whether it's in their state or whether it's this free federal money. In Texas, we're talking about new ways to provide tax relief. Texas is a shining example of when people get to keep more of what they work for, they do some really wonderful things with it. They can foster stronger cultural arts community. They can send their children to really fine institutions of higher learning. They can invest in new equipment and new workers. In Texas, we understand that nobody has ever taxed their way to prosperity. At the same time, our population expands and our industries grow across our state. Demands increase upon some very foundational building blocks of our communities. That's why I think it's very important that we address our growing infrastructure needs in this state, water and transportation. I'm supporting a one-time investment of $3.7 billion out of that rainy day fund. And let me just kind of share with you the logic there. The rainy day fund was set up in the late 80s, as my memory serves me correct, to protect us against a major catastrophic event. It's kind of an insurance policy, if you will. We took that severance tax money from our gas and put it into that rainy day fund, and to send a message to Wall Street that Texas was thoughtful in how they deal with their budgeting process so that we could have the best rates that we could get if we go to Wall Street, if we put general obligation bonds forward to build things like transportation or water infrastructure. So $7 to $8 billion is what the experts tell us is what we need in that account. We're going to have somewhere between $4 and $5 billion more than what we need to keep those two very important reasons for the rainy day fund. So I asked for the legislature to consider $3 billion out of that for an infrastructure program. And I'm calling for an end of the diversion of $1.3 billion that occurs every biennium. Fund 6 that goes into general revenue to pay for things other than building transportation infrastructure. To stop that process, you pay those tax dollars and fees into that to build roads and bridges. That's what it needs to be used for, nothing else. Those projects will enhance critical water and infrastructure systems, transportation systems across our state, and it'll address needs both short-term and long-term, ensuring both water and traffic will continue to flow for generations to come. We're also working to continue improving our workforce through expansion of choice in our public schools, increased accessibility of higher education. Not every job in this state requires a college degree, and I think it's very important that we not only recognize that, but we help to bring those young people who want to go directly into the workforce and how we can, as a matter of fact, some of the most in-demand jobs in this state today do not require a four-year college degree. They require technical certification. And we need to make that process of earning those technical certifications more streamlined and accessible. Last fall, we announced a initiative that will bring industries and technical and community colleges closer together to provide a statewide model that will enable these students to swiftly earn their technical certificates at an affordable cost. Under this framework, an individual will be able to attain certain certification in high-demand industries utilizing competency-based learning to allow students to gain credit for techniques and skills that they've already mastered. Texas is doing its part to build a stronger America, and it will continue to do so by rededicating ourselves to the conservative values that have served us so well over the course of the years. This is the greatest place in the world to live, to raise a family, and to have a business. And once again, I want to thank all of you. The small businessmen and women in this state are truly that foundation and the engine that drives our state's success. A lot of times the big corporate name gets the neon sign, but it's the worker bees, if you will, that are in this room and that you all represent that truly build that foundation of which a Caterpillar or a Facebook or an eBay are able to sit their structures upon. And today I wanted to come and to say thank you, and also to bring Will up so that we can sign a certificate, a proclamation to be exact, declaring today Small Business Day in Texas. I got this one. I have one for you too. Right, let me shut this right here. Set it right here. Do it on top there. It is declared. Thank you, Will. Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. All right. I'm heading out. Thank you all. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day.